Hello and welcome. This is the Connector's Edge podcast. I'm Marian LaSalle, your host, and my co-host is Ricki McKenna. And our guest today is Mary Geist. And I'm very, very happy to meet you. I've heard so much about you from Ricki, but I misunderstood your name, so I didn't know it was you. It was very interesting to hear you this morning talk about how to pronounce your name and things like that. So thank you and welcome. This is so
Thank you.
wonderful.
Yes,
Mhm.
thanks for having me. I'm excited to finally meet you as well.
That's great.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So this is a podcast that helps people understand that we're about connecting with people. So connecting is very important to me and to everybody in the community. And the community that I'm talking about is referral business builders. And it incorporates a lot more than business, but maybe that's, like a way for us to drive traffic and to get people interested. If you own a business, you want to own a business, you've been an entrepreneur all your life, it doesn't really matter. You'll find something interesting in referral business builders. Like this morning, every Monday morning, we have a book club and it's called Connectors Hour Book Club. See the connecting? Yeah, we're connecting all
We're
right.
always we're always
Yeah,
connecting
we're
something.
connecting. There you go. And my job as the chief connector is to make sure that you are connected to what you need. So it could be a person, could be a business, could be an idea. I want to make sure that everybody that comes in to my realm is connected. So that's really what it's all about. We have lots of things going on here besides the podcast. We have the book club. We also have networking opportunities on Zoom. So we have a gentleman who runs one of our groups who is worldwide. He's a global networker, and he helps people get speaking gigs. And then we
Yep.
have a lady who does. She's a marketing specialist with video, so she teaches and connects with people on video. I'm just a people connector, and then we have 5 or 6 other people who come in and do their thing, and it just draws in all these different types of people. So I think everyone is welcome and everyone can get something out of referral business builders. So that's about all I'm going to say about that.
Sounds good. You noticed what my email address was. Did you
I
notice?
did. I did.
Connecting
Connect.
is also a very big part of my work email address, starts with connect. I didn't want another Mary at. I wanted connect at because that is important for. So,
Yes.
And you can put um, you can say what your email is so people connect with you.
oh,
You like?
connect at Mindful Balance Mobile is my email
Yeah.
address. Or for me personally, yes.
And we'll have all the information that you need that you hear today down in the comments. And feel free to comment and let us know a little bit about you so we can connect with you too.
Yep.
All right.
And
So Ricki is the person who invited you here today. So I'm going to let her take the first question.
oh,
Okay,
question. Oh my goodness.
perfect.
Question. Mary, first of all, how do you spell your name? Because it's unusual.
Mari, yes, we can thank my mom. Especially living in South Texas, a lot of people want to say Mari or Marie or Mari. I get that a lot, but it's Mary.
Yep, it's simple, and she's beautiful, and
Oh,
she's
thank
my
you.
buddy. We have done work together.
Yeah.
Mary is definitely a healer. She's known as Car Seat Mary, and I'll let her explain that to you. That's going to be the first question that you answer. What the heck? Who's Car Seat Mary? And she and I have put together some other things that we've done. We called it Take Five, because she does 5 healing modalities, very specific healing modalities, as well as talking about car seats. And I'll let her tell you more about that. And I did a 5 course meal. So we put it all together and we had 6 ladies at one and 5 at another. And they absolutely loved, they didn't want to leave because they were all so relaxed and so refreshed and so renewed. And It was
Yes, it
not
was.
only was it beneficial to everybody, but it was a lot of fun. But tell us about Car Seat Mary.
So that is a career I have had for about, I'm on my 38th year. It started, it started out a teenage girl needing a job in high school, and I wanted to leave early. And so that summer, I got a job. My cousin was the manager at a baby store, and I thought, it's a baby store. I can work at a baby store. But this was back in the 80s when we didn't have the internet, and I was a 17-year-old girl who didn't have children. And so you're meeting young, expectant parents, and they're like, what does this teenager know about babies? And something in me stirred around and said, you can't look like you're dumb. You need to know stuff about stuff. It doesn't shouldn't matter if you have a baby or not. I could still help people. So I started becoming industry trained by people, and most particularly, everyone has questions about car seats. And so back then, there
Yes.
was a brand of car seats named Strolley. They're no longer around. They were giant, and
I
they
remember
were
that.
corduroy. You remember they were like corduroy
I
fabric.
do.
So I just got very fascinated with products. And so I got really good at it. And then eventually, a few years later, I had my first child, and I realized, oh my gosh, I have much better information now that I'm doing it on the job training. Like that's how parents are learning, right? As we go. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I got even better because now I had some real world experience, had another baby. And then it was in 1997, the government came up with a standardized program that was used for first responders to train them about the goal was to get roadway traffic fatalities and deaths down. And so that would start by educating families on how to properly install car seats and all of that. And keep in mind, this program was for first responders. And I was a woman who worked in a baby store, still on the retail side of it. And one of the reps called and she said, you know more about car seats and products than anybody we know. And we really think that you should go to this certification class as well. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the class. And as a person who's not a first responder, the videos and the things that I had to see and the notes that I was taking and the stuff that I was learning, I was, trying to wipe out tears out of my eyes as I'm taking notes because it was just so horrific,
Yeah,
And
I can
Hmm.
imagine.
so now I had this certification and I was working with people in the field. I stayed with the baby store a little while longer, and then I went to Texas Children's Hospital and I worked in the injury prevention department. And so my job was to build inspection stations from a grant and help families learn how to, install their seats properly. And I would train, I'm a trainer as well. So I would train paramedics and law enforcement people, whoever was interested to get certified. But then I stayed there for quite a few years doing that. But then I decided, the truth of it is parents need to see a person like me when they're expecting a baby, when they're shopping. So I went back to the retail side of it because I felt there was this bridge that needed to be connected. Obviously, that was very important to me to not wait until you had a baby and then go to the fire department or police department or somewhere that's certified to teach you. They were having questions when they were pregnant. So I went back to the baby store, and we had a manager in the store named Mary. So people would call and they'd say, hey, we need to talk to Mary. And they're like, which Mary? Manager Mary or car seat Mary? And so that is where the name actually came from.
Okay.
And so I just went ahead and branded it. I made a website for it. I have a lot of, I'm not in that industry as much anymore. I still teach. I still, keep my certification up. And I do home visits and appointments for families, and I'll come to their house and teach them privately. But I have moved my daytime life over to the wellness sector. So that's kind of, which
How
leads
we
us, I guess, into our
connected.
next thing about how Ricki and I started working together. Do you want me to answer that one next? Or I don't know what the question. Did I answer
Well,
everything about car seat Mary that you wanted to know? It was a
Bless you.
it was an accidental career that was divinely guided into whatever it turned into. So
Yep.
You saved children's lives,
Yes,
and that's
yes, I do
important.
that for a living. Yeah, that's
that's super important.
Yes.
And the other part of it is that she also is now an author.
I am.
And
Yes, and this is my book, part of my book cover behind me. Yes, I wrote the book years ago, and that's
she's a
also,
busy
yes,
lady.
huh?
You're a
I,
busy lady.
I know. I guess that's a. Do you want that story next? How the book came about? Because I'm
Okay.
guessing that's
Short story.
short story. I do a lot of meditating and a lot of journaling, and I heard in a meditation, you need to write a book. And I was like, I'm not writing a book. I'm not an author. I sometimes like to argue with God. I treat him like a bill collector who's, calling me, and I'm trying to avoid the call. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not an author. I'm not going to do it. So eventually I wrote the book, and it's a really great book. I love it, and
It
I'm proud of
is.
it. But I didn't just have this idea, oh, I'm just going to write this book. It just sort of.
What I love about it, Mary, is folks, she's very intuitive. Can you imagine? I mean, I'm an intuitive chef. That's what I call myself because I kind of collect things and say, that looks good together. That'll work. And what do we do with this? And that's kind of how Mary got her book together, I think, because from her story that she told me, she sat down one day and it just sort of started to write. And it was not from her as much as it was channeled. And most of us know what channeling means. It just comes through you. And so I'll let you hold up the book because I know you have it there.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's something that I read almost every day, and Richard reads, and then we actually talk about. It's a daily paragraph of wisdom.
yeah. Well, it's funny. When I was in my argument stage with God, or whatever people want to call it, universe, spirit, I like to call them all those things, or that energy, right? I was like, look, if you want me to write a book, you're going to have to help me because I don't know what I'm supposed to write a book about. And my friend just happened to be in college at the time working on her master's in fine arts, and she made me a journal that had all these decorative things on it. And I was like, oh, okay, here, is that not a message? Like, here's a journal. So in meditation, I was praying about, okay, here I have a journal. I'm getting the hints. I need to write this book. And I just heard, say a little prayer and pick up your pen and just fill out one page. And so that was the practice. I would just start writing, and somehow magically it always had a message that ended with a little thing. And so I went back and read it. So I wrote the whole book by hand in a journal. There were no crossouts, no changes. And so I ended up needing to self-publish because I didn't want to change the way the words were written to what a traditional publisher would want me to
Yeah.
say. And so I self-published and did it that way. And I I have some of my friends will be like, your message was so good. Have you even read your book? Like, because I may or may not participate in the wisdom advice that I might have given on the subject, right? As I'm
That's
learning.
funny.
And
Mm-hmm.
so they're like, hello. But I think it came from, I feel like, and this is just my personal belief about my reality, is it almost feels like the movie Avatar, where we're in this reality of we're learning things, and there's a higher part of ourself that kind of guides, and I feel like that's probably where the book came from, a much wiser version of Mary that is emerging and unfolding. Because as I read it, I relate and connect to all of this stuff, and some of it I've implemented, and as I've grown, and some of it I'm still working on and learning. But that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of how that book magically arrived on this earth.
So, Marian, I think that to me, that's the way processes happen in a sense that if you actually listen, which I know Mary does, and you let go and quote, let go and let God, or spirit, or avatar, whatever you want to call
Kind of
it.
stepping out of your own way, honestly.
Yes, yeah. And I think for all of us, connecting, that's is it a metaphor to really write your own story, write your own book, let it flow. And I think Mary's a perfect example of that. So
Well,
I
Well,
I
hope people
here's
like the
how
book.
I have three things to say about this now. The first one is, what do I call that? What you said. And
Mm,
and I heard this from a friend of mine, and I just adopted it because it was so perfect for me. It's God, goddess, source, all that is. So every time I want to speak to the man upstairs, if you will, that's how I address it, because that's how I feel. If you look at all the people on this planet, nobody has it down to one thing. Okay. It's
yeah,
so
it's
many different
everything.
things, right?
Right.
yeah.
It's unlimited, in my
It's
opinion.
infinite.
So that covers most everything. God, goddess, source, all it is. So some people think it's a woman, and some people think it's a man, and some people think it's everything. Source, okay, the source of everything. So anyway, that was what I think.
You-
And
you-
here is how I get my messages. So I feel like everybody does it differently. You said you get your messages through journaling and meditating and things like that. Well, I get my messages from people. So
yeah.
I keep hearing the same thing over and over again. I know that's somebody's talking to me. One of those God, goddess, source, all that is
Yeah.
speaking to me, because every single day I hear the word meditate. Duh. Why don't you meditate, Mary? Well, I'm getting the message, okay? Every single day for the last 20 years, I'm hearing the word meditate. Okay, there's something going on. Nobody's hit me over the head yet with it, but it's just gentle, and also write. Okay, so you need to write, Marian. You need to write. You need to journal. I'm hearing the same things over and over again from people. So I don't know exactly what I'll do with that.
Well, don't you already have a book? I thought you had written a book
I've
years
written a
ago.
couple books, yes, but they haven't been inspired by me. They've been inspired, or people have asked me to write a book because they know I know this, or I know that.
Yeah.
So those books, except for one, it's called Affiliate Marketing for Fun and Profit. That's the only one I wrote from me. I had to get it out. To me, a source of income is imperative for all human beings, if because it costs money to live on this planet. You
Hmm.
can't you can't just eat whatever you want, or live in a house. You have to earn it. You have to get the money somehow to pay the people to live on this planet. It's crazy. You can't just go up and pick fruit and expect the meat to appear. So to me, affiliate marketing was so great when I first started anything online, because it made me look outside of myself and say, who's got a product or service that I want to share with other people, that
Mm.
I like so much myself that I want to share that with other people. And, and the people that are buying the product aren't paying me. It's the person who created this product. And I thought that's a really good idea. So I researched it. I got certified. I did all the stuff, just like you described, your seatbelt Mary story. Okay,
Car
that's
seat.
how I really focused in on affiliate marketing. And unfortunately, not everybody is honest or above board, or they don't know what they're doing, and they tell you things and they sell you things. And there's been books written that are like, really, what are you doing, people? For any industry, that's how I feel. Any industry out there. So like, I'm a web designer. There's bad web designers out there that will steal you blind, that will tell you
Yep.
stuff and take your money, and they never give, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah,
anyway,
for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
that was my story about how I get what I need from source, is that I listen to people. Isn't that
I
interesting?
agree. I agree. I find that I did a talk at the Sunday Connection class at Unity not too long ago. And when I wrote my book, I wrote it for people that really didn't believe in anything. And it really starts with how you feel about yourself. And, the closer you get to really loving and understanding yourself and going through the process of, stepping out of your own way to your greatness and what's coming, people who do believe in something understand that that's what that connection is, if you will, right? It's that connection to something higher. But when you're disconnected from self, you think poorly of yourself. You have, you don't have the integrity, you don't have the behaviors, the things that, mirror what a positive energy or that higher vibration. You're, behaving it with, like you said, in the industries, and every industry has it. In the industry I'm in currently, I am a product educator for wellness modalities. And so when I am training people, when they buy a light bed or a cryo chamber or something, I constantly am hearing, everyone knows, or they're hearing about red light therapy and how great it is for you. And it is, in fact, great. But sometimes people have had an experience with a product that's a cheap knockoff version that they convinced you was great, and you don't get the results. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't believe in that. So it's kind of an unregulated industry in a way. And so it makes it hard for the people that do have the integrity. Like my boss, who's created probably one of the best products, we're having to consistently educate, which I find is the same thing in the car seat world, right?
Yes.
In any world, really.
Any world. That's why it was easy to make that transition from educating families about car seats to educating people about these different things that, as I've gotten older. And that's why Ricki and I kind of wanted to do the Take 5. You start to notice that, especially when you're younger and you have your children and you're raising them and things are chaotic and you're just hoping to get from the beginning of the day to the end of the day in one piece, and you put everything you have into your family and your children and your life and your job and getting the money to live on the planet, right? That you find there's nothing left for yourself. You're exhausted at the end of the day. And so Take 5 traditionally meant, hey, take a break, give yourself a minute to reset, recharge. And we used that concept of, it's not selfish to practice self-care. It's mandatory at this point, right? And we've been brought up in a society or community to believe that self-care is selfish, that, you're just thinking about yourself. But, don't they tell you when the oxygen masks drop down in the plane that you need to put yours on first before you put it on the child? And you've got a new mom thinking, I would never do that. My child's so important. I need to put the mask. Well, if you're unconscious, you're not putting the mask on the child. And so I've really started realizing, I saw a quote actually that was crumpled on the floor at a wellness conference I went to, I guess when we were moving stuff in and out. And for some reason, it's like you get your signs, Marian. I get mine the same. I was like, this piece of paper is crumpled in the middle of the floor in this random place. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to read it. And what it said was, self-care is giving the world what's best of you, not what's left of you.
I love that.
Like,
I love that quote.
What a great quote, right? And that's how we've lived our lives, just in the hustle, and now that I am done with that, I'm trying to be more on purpose with what Mary's doing, because I have a lot of hats. And so the last couple of years, how do you mold the hats together? How do you embody all the things that inspire you and light you up and make it make sense? Like, how do I put car seats and a book and a wellness business and, peptides and these other things that I do? How do you put that into a cohesive thing? And
I have an answer.
We did. We figured it out. Referral network. Yeah, probably.
No. Referral business builders. You network with all these other people who have similar situations and who really need to learn, and they're learning, we all are, how to connect. And Marian is the chief connector.
Well, you know what I really love about these things, and I haven't participated in them very often, but I've been Ricky's invited me to a couple, and I've done a few on my own. But the thing that I learned from my 38 years of selling car seats and strollers, I've never sold anything in my life. I'm an educator, and so I've
Yeah.
just educated families on things, asked them questions, got them to think of, oh, so for example, if I'm selling you a stroller, where do you live? If you live in the Heights, you need different tires. If you drive a small car, if you need, that will help get you to. So just asking questions sometimes
Oh,
gets them
yes.
thinking. And then
Yes.
I'm filling a need that they have. And in the beginning, they're new. They don't know what the needs are, but I do. And so I can guide them through that process. And that's what's made me really great at selling. The problem is when it comes to like a book or personal things, for me, I can get on a stage and talk in front of thousands of people about car seat safety and not have a problem. But when I'm getting up there talking about something personal and more like the book, for example, where there's that opportunity for feeling judged and feeling, like,
Ooh.
that
Ooh.
makes the scene a little bit different, right? And
Nope.
so
Shouldn't.
I know, but we spend a lot of our time, I think, especially when we're younger, looking outside of ourselves for validation and confirmation and connection and things until you really go inside and heal those parts of yourself. There's nothing outside of you that you're going to find that's going to help with that if you haven't looked inside. So then you're open to connecting with the people,
Yes. Amen.
so
Amen to that.
I found you at the perfect time. So I'm very excited to learn all of what referrals and connection,
Referral Business Builders.
referral
.com.
business builders.
So,
Yeah.
Mary, did you know that our book study is run by Chris Sievers?
I did not, but I do. I recently met Chris Sievers. I did his business. I was a guest speaker on his show about someone had attended the Unity Sunday Connections when I shared my story, my personal story. And one of the guys in the class, I think his name was Ted, said, "Hey, would you be willing to share with us how Car Seat Mary came about? Because I find it very fascinating, your story, because one of the things that I mentioned in my story, which I really feel this way, standing where I am now, I don't really know how to tell you the steps that are in front of me and the path that I'm on. I just know to answer and just move forward. But when I look backwards, whether it was traumatic, because there were a lot of traumatic things in my history growing up, I realize that every single stepping stone has led me to where I am now. And I
Yeah.
can see why they needed to happen for my own growth. Because, there's a triumph waiting to be revealed in every tragedy. We just have to be able to look and be open to receiving whatever it is that we're learning, because we do learn something from everything. And unfortunately for me, most of my biggest growth has been done in a traumatic, coming through something that's been traumatic. And maybe that's the same for a lot of people. I don't know. Maybe we take for
Yeah.
granted we're in the happy season of our life and we're just humming along. Maybe, we learn stuff then as well, but it's more impactful when you're like, oh my gosh, we're having another dark night of the soul. Like, how many of these do we get?
As many as you need
Exactly.
till
Yeah.
you get it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do
Well,
you
we got
think,
on some
Marian?
got on some tangents there, but yes, Chris Sievers, he's great. So maybe one day my book will get to be a book that's in the book club that's studied. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be
Well, right
fun.
now the book club is studying who, not how.
Hmm.
Yep,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And then I just sent for it, by the way. I finally sent for it, Marian. I should be getting a hard copy of it because I like to read. And just a side note, last night we have a phenomenal library in Basalt. And I found Diana Gabaldon books, which are some of my very favorite historical fiction books on earth. She has a series that started with Outlander and goes on. And I started to read it last night, but I did a dumb, and I used eye makeup remover pads that are oily. And then I washed my face, but somehow or other I must have gotten the oil in my eyes, and I couldn't read. I mean, it was like the film kept coming over my eyes and I had to blink and clear them. Oh gosh. And I dearly love to read. I'm a person that loves a book, a real live book. So anyway, I think that if anybody's heard anything today, and there's been a lot of good stuff today that you'd like to comment upon, please comment below live, or even when you watch these are recorded and you can watch them. You can just go to Referral Business Builders or the Connector's Edge podcast, connectorsedge.com, and you'll find the recordings. And please let us know. And so, Mary, I mean, this has been fabulous. Um, for somebody who didn't know what to say, I think you did a great job. And we've learned all about you, or some of it. And I have to say that she's absolutely marvelous to work with because we've done a couple of things together. And it started out just kind of a casual, hi, I'm Mary. Okay, I'm Ricki. And we both end our names with I. So that was a thing we had in common, which is maybe silly, but it works. Um, and then we got together and we started doing these wonderful Take Five sessions that I would love to do some more, even if I have to run back to Texas, because I'm now in Colorado. But
Well, it's definitely going to be easier for you to schlep yourself out here than me to drag all this equipment to
well,
Colorado.
that's true.
So
Yeah,
I'm
all I
voting
have to do
for
is
both.
bring me, and I can cook at anybody's home. But anyway, um, I think we're running out of time. So really, I'm going to ask everybody who's listening, watching, to please comment below if you heard even just one little nugget that you can take with you. I love the one about you can't what about the self, taking care of yourself,
Self-care is giving the world what's best of you, not what's
not
left
what's
of you.
left of you. I love that.
I do
Yes.
too. Mary, it was very nice to meet you,
It
and we
was
want
so
to
great.
invite you to come back again.
I
Thank you,
would love
everybody.
to. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye for
Bye
now.
for now.